My journey happened in two important moments. I call them love at first sight and love at second sight. The first time I played the E-flat clarinet, I feel very comfortable with it. This was around the year 2000 when I was playing in the Valle del Cauca Departamental Band in Colombia. At that time, I had the chance to play a concert with many solo parts for the E-flat clarinet. However, the instrument was not very good, and many colleagues believed that a solo E-flat clarinet would not interest the audience. Because of this, I gave up the idea of starting a solo project with the instrument. Almost 10 years later, I met the E-flat clarinet again. This second meeting was very important for me. At that moment, I knew it was the instrument I wanted to play and express myself with. Since 2012, the E-flat clarinet has been my main instrument. I had continued working with it until today. The full story is longer, but this is the short version. I believe most E-flat clarinet players agree that intonation is the main challenge. Because of this, in the high register we need different fingers for each note. For example, a high F is not played the same way in every situation. It changes if it starts a phrase, if it is long, very soft, loud or fast. A lot of our practice time is used to find the best fingerings. This helps us play with confidence, good intonation and security. I had played a lot in wind bands, and I can be as demanding as an orchestra. In a band, the E-flat clarinet is usually in the front row. This made the song reach the audience very quickly. Because of this, I often had to play extremely soft. As a soloist, the situation is different. I had more freedom to control the dynamics and sound. For solo E-flat clarinet intonation feels more flexible for me. Not to play out of tune, but to have more freedom of color and expression. I believe that most studies written for the B-flat clarinet can also be useful for the E-flat clarinet. Many solo passages on the E-flat clarinet are very melodic. For this reason, I find the Italian school very helpful for phrasing and intonation. In addition, I created my own flexibility exercises. One idea comes from studying multiphonics. I try to isolate each note inside the sound. Another idea comes from overtone exercises like flutists use. Without using the register key, I move between notes only with air and voicing. This improves flexibility, register control, and intonation. For beginners, it is important to understand that the E-flat clarinet does not sound like the B-flat clarinet. If you accept this difference, you can appreciate the instrument for what it truly is. One common complaint about the E-flat clarinet is its supposed limited repertoire. However, this perception is not entirely accurate. While it is true that the instrument does not have as extensive a body of literature as the bass clarinet and much less the soprano clarinet, it possesses far more repertoire than many musicians realize. There are 6 original Baroque concertos written for the clarinet in D that function remarkably well on the E-flat clarinet. In addition, Dr. Francisco Gil of Spain has catalogued nearly 500 works for the instrument in his doctoral research, demonstrating that its repertoire is both broader and more diverse than often assumed. Personally, I feel particularly connected to works with Latin America influence. Among the pieces I most enjoy performing are Cobat's homages in the E-flat version and 5 pieces on Colombian themes by José Rebelo, which I interpret on the E-flat clarinet. If we speak specifically of original composition written for the E-flat clarinet, I would highlight 2 works in particular: Spanish folk variations by Martínez Gallego with wind band accompaniment and Variaciones sobre un zumba que zumba by Freddy Colina Santos, written for solo E-flat clarinet. The E-flat clarinet is gaining great recognition in contemporary music. Composers are exploring its unique timbre, agility, and expressive range. Moreover, thanks to highly skilled performers, new and increasingly complex works are appearing more frequently for the instrument, giving the E-flat clarinet a promising future as a solo voice. Naturally, not all listeners are drawn to its bright and penetrating sound. However, the goal is not to convince everyone. Rather, a strong composition combined with an outstanding interpretation can create a real artistic impact, powerful enough to transform perception and build appreciation for the E-flat clarinet. Its range of colors, texture, and dynamic contrasts opens new artistic possibilities beyond the traditional orchestra. The E-flat clarinet should not be limited to one single role, but explore across the full range of performance formats. Before answering, I would like to sincerely thank Agnieszka for inviting me to take part in this interview and for giving me the opportunity to share my experience. Receiving this invitation was a genuine surprise, and I am deeply grateful that she considered my work with the E-flat clarinet worthy of inclusion in this project. Now, to the question itself. Like most musicians, I had accumulated countless anecdotes over the years, and choosing just one feels almost impossible. That said, there is a situation that has occurred several times and always leaves a strong impression on me. On more than one occasion, I had heard people state quite emphatically that they cannot stand the E-flat clarinet, or that they outright hate it. In one extreme case, someone even joked that all of them should be burned. What is fascinating and always surprising to me is that after a performance, some of those very same people have approached me to say things like, "After hearing you play, I actually like the E-flat clarinet," or even, "They can't burn them off except yours." I truly value these moments, not because my performances are intended to shame anyone's personal taste or musical preference, but because they reveal a genuine point of connection. Something in the music resonates, and as a result, listeners begin to appreciate the instrument itself. For me, that is what matters most.